Hey, welcome to Bionic Business, the podcast for online entrepreneurs ready to leverage AI and agents to move the needle and scale revenue and grow profits. There is a massive difference between the entrepreneurs winning with AI right now and those who are getting left behind. That difference is not luck. It is not who has the fanciest tool. It is not chasing hype, and is definitely not about mega prompts. The key difference is strategy. Knowing what to do, what to skip, and staying ahead. Let's get into it. Let's talk about reality. I'm going to help you see what's happening right now across different industries with AI and agents, because most people have a sense of what's going on, right? You see all the news, the developments, the new tools, the new prompts, the new this, the new that, and you have maybe a vague sense that your competitors are doing stuff with AI. But most online entrepreneurs don't have a clear picture of what AI and agents working actually looks like in practice. Once you see it, two things are going to happen. First, you're going to feel the sense of urgency. And second, you're going to see the opportunity. Both are real. Let's get into it. So in e-commerce, I'll start here because this is one of the spaces where I've operated myself. So e-commerce brands that are pulling ahead right now have full agent systems running anything from their ad operations to email to cart abandonment to you name it. And I don't mean that they're using AI to, write ad copy. That's step number one, and that's table stakes at this point. What they have is a loop. So an agent scrapes competitor ads and landing pages daily. Another agent analyzes what hooks and angles are getting engagement in the market. And then a production agent generates new ad variations informed by that research using their brand voice, their offers, their specific positioning. And then an analysis agent watches performance in real time and flags what's winning and what's failing. And then the system iterates. It self-improves. And it doubles down on what's working and kills what doesn't automatically. So that means that they're testing 50 variations while a competitor is testing maybe 2 a week. And they find the winning hook in hours, at most days. And when they find it, they scale it before anyone else even knows it existed. Now think about what that means over 3 months, 6 months, a year. Every cycle, the system gets smarter. Every cycle, the gap widens. And the business on the other side of that gap, the one that's still manually briefing a designer and copywriter every Monday morning, they're not falling behind because their product is worse, right? They might have a superior product, but they're falling behind because their speed is a fraction of what it could be. Next one, agencies. This one is close to home for a lot of people I work with. I even had an agency a few years ago. And it used to be that agency size signals success. Big team, big client roster, big reputation. But now at this point, size is probably a signal of failure. The agencies that are winning right now have AI and agents handling, 60 to 70% of their service delivery and fulfillment. Research agents pull competitor intel or market data for each client. Production agents draft, copy, create creative concepts, create campaign structures, do all the work, whatever the work might be, right? Spanning from SEO to ads to content to you name it. And then you have analysis agents that are monitoring performance across platforms. And reporting agents are generating client updates without a human touching a spreadsheet. One agency that I work with dropped their time per client from 50 hours to 30, and they're pushing that further down to 20. They didn't lower their prices, they actually raised prices because the quality of the work and output went up. The speed went up. The clients got better results. So the agency charged more, delivered faster, and their margins expanded. Meanwhile, you got agencies that are still running the old model and they're kind of stuck competing on headcount. And they have a huge overhead they have to fulfill on every single month. So having a bigger team used to be a selling point. Now that's a cost structure that is eating into your margins, and it's unnecessary for it to do so. SaaS is an interesting space because it's simultaneously dead and alive just because AI and agents can basically code up and create and replace a lot of SaaS tools. But I do think that SaaS still has a future. And so SaaS companies are embedding agents directly into their products and their operations. And I'm not talking about, adding a cute little chatbot that people can talk to when they log into their account. I'm talking about fundamentally behind the scenes as part of the infrastructure of the software. So on the product side, support agents handle 70 to 80% of tier 1 tickets without a human getting involved, and then that might get escalated to a human. Onboarding agents guide new users through setup or completes the setup for users, so they don't have to do anything except maybe give the agent a URL or something simple. And success agents are monitoring usage patterns inside their software and flag churn risks before a customer even thinks about leaving. On the operations side, sales agents are qualifying inbound leads before a human being even looks at them. They enrich the data, score the fit, personalize the initial outreach. And by the time a sales rep gets on a call, they already know who they're talking to and why that person is a good fit or might not even be a good fit. So SaaS companies they're not just saving money on support headcount, right? They're responding faster, converting better, and retaining longer. Each of those compound, right? So faster response means higher satisfaction. Better conversion means more revenue per lead and per user. Longer retention means higher lifetime value. Stack all three, and you've got a business that is pulling away from competitors quarter over quarter. In media and publishing and content and that whole space, right? The simplest thing you can do is repurpose content or any kind of media assets that you've got. But there's more you can do, more impactful things you can do. You can have research agents that are monitoring trends, tracking what's performing in a niche, identifying gaps in coverage. Production agents draft content informed by that research. Distribution agents handle scheduling, repurposing, cross-posting, all that stuff. And analysis agents identify which pieces are driving results and feed that back into the next cycle. Publishers that are running through these systems produce a lot more content with the same team, but it's not just volume, right? Like anyone can produce 100 different articles or social media posts. What they're doing is producing high volume, high quality content at a fraction of the time. And because the system learns what resonates, quality trends up over each cycle. I run newsletter businesses in different verticals myself with myself and my team. We got luxury, retail, compliance, insurance, and so on. And these newsletter operations are systemized end to end. Research, content production, subscriber management, all of what goes into a newsletter business, we have agents handling almost all of it. So I'm not sitting here, or my team are not sitting there manually writing and scheduling and analyzing every week, right? Stuff is happening behind the scenes. So I want you to sit with this for a second and just think to yourself, if you're still manually repurposing content, which is like the lowest hanging fruit there is in the world, and your competitor has agents handling that whole flow, research, production, distribution, in a coordinated loop, I don't do fear, I do reality. And the reality is that the gap between you and that competitor compounds every single day. Every day their AI system runs is another day it learns and improves. If your support team is drowning in tickets while a competitor agent is handling 80% or 90% of increase instantly, their customers are happier, their team is freed up for higher value support work, and their cost to serve is lower. You're not competing against their team. What you're competing against is their AI systems and their AI agents. Those systems and agents do not take days off. They don't have bad weeks. They get better over time. And this is the part that most people underestimate. The gap doesn't stay flat, right? A human team improves linearly if they improve at all, but a well-built agent system improves compoundingly, if that's a word, because every cycle feeds the next one. So the difference between you and a competitor or even others in your space who started building 6 months ago is not 6 months of work. It is 6 months of compounding improvement. And so it doubles or triples every cycle. So let me be direct with you about timing, because I think it matters and I don't think enough people are being honest about it. 6 months ago, the AI landscape looked completely different. Agent platforms that are standard today barely existed. They're kind of wonky. The capabilities that are table stakes now were cutting edge back then. 6 months from now, that'll shift again, or maybe even faster than 6 months. And what I've observed in building my own projects and businesses and experiments and working with clients across so many different industries is that the gap between companies that have built system and agents and companies that are still experimenting and clicking buttons and prompting is widening faster than people expect. And because of that compounding effect, when your system learns and improves every cycle while your competitor is still doing things manually, the distance accelerates. And hopefully you're the one whose systems are compounding, right? So based on what I'm seeing and the conversations that I'm having with the smartest people building in this space, the window to be one of those that are pulling ahead is maybe 2 to 3 years. After that, the businesses that have built these systems will have such a head start, such refined data, such optimized processes that catching up becomes a fundamentally different challenge. You can't work your way to catching up. So you're not just behind on tools, you're also behind on learning and experience. You're behind on data. You're behind on iteration cycles. That gap is really hard to close. And I want to say this again. You can't work your way out of that gap. No amount of work, hours, energy, blood, sweat, and tears will make a single lick of difference. So it's not a 10-year runway where you can figure it out whenever you get around to it. The decisions you make in the next 12 to 24 months will determine which side of that gap that you're on. So I know I painted a pretty intense picture, and I want to be clear about why. So everything that I just described about your competitors and these other people that I've worked with and things that I see, all of that can be you. All of it. You can be the e-commerce brand testing 50 ad variations a day or an hour if you have enough volume, while your competitors test 2 a week. You can be the agency that raised prices and improved margins while everyone else competes on who can be the cheapest. You could be the SaaS company where support agents handle 80 to 90% of tickets and your team focuses on the work that actually moves the business forward. Just because the threat is real does not mean that the opportunity doesn't exist. The threat is real, but the opportunity is bigger. Why? Well, because most businesses haven't figured this out just yet. The majority are still in the same cycle that you've been in, trying tools, collecting prompts, building disconnected automations, wondering why nothing compounds. The examples I just walked through are those outliers. They're the ones who got serious in time, which means that if you get serious now, you're not late. You're early relative to most of your market. The window is still open. Your competitors are probably still tinkering the same way you have been tinkering. Those that are building real AI and agent systems now and over the next 12 to 24 months, they will own and dominate the next 5 years, 10 years in their space. That could be you. It could be your business. But you got to start doing things differently than what you have been doing so far. So what does doing things differently actually mean, right? It sounds so vague. What separates the businesses that I just described from the ones that are still spinning their wheels? So you heard me walk through the examples: agents scraping competitors, analyzing performance, generating new creative, iterating automatically. None of that started with someone finding the perfect prompt. None of those systems run because someone bought a prompt pack or spent a week engineering a mega prompt with 47 variables. And yet, that's still where most people's heads are at. They think that if it can just get the right prompt, they'll get the right output. I get why it feels that way, right? But the businesses that are winning right now didn't get there through better prompts. They got there because they stopped thinking about prompts entirely and started thinking about something else. In the next episode, I'm going to break down why prompts, the thing that everyone spent the last 2 years obsessing over, are actually the least important part of your AI strategy. I'll show you what the actual competitive advantage is, why your competitors can't copy it even if they wanted to, and what you should be building instead. That's the next episode, and I'll see you there. Thanks for listening. If you want to stay ahead of what's happening in AI and agents and know what to pay attention to and applying it all to your business before your competitors figure it out, you got to subscribe to the Bionic Business newsletter. I'm in the trenches every day exploring, testing, and implementing this for my own projects and for real businesses. I only share what works and tell you what doesn't. Links in the show notes, or go to bionicbusiness.com and sign up. If you have questions or something landed differently for you, just send me a message. I read them all. See you in the next episode.